Alrighty, so welcome again, everyone, to the Birmingham Tech Week, and the event is building and scaling up a tech business without writing any code. This is brought to you by Dynamatix. We are based in Milton Keynes, not very far from Birmingham, but we do business across UK and internationally. So feel free to give us a ring if you're interested in talking to us after this demo. So Birmingham Tech Week asked me to show these slides to you, which I will do now. So it's brought in association with Technation, West Midlands Growth Company, and Department for International Trade. And thanks to the 2020 sponsors, NetWest, Copper, Culture Group, BJSS, SiteTrade, and BMed. These are the 2020 partners. I'll give a moment here for you to look at that. And then this is us, Dynamatix. So the event we are starting now is about building and scaling up a tech business without writing any code. Dynamatix is a boutique solutions firm that specializes in digital automation. It was set up in 2013 as a captive software development team, and a key component of the team was the Dynamatix Labs, and is still there. And it has helped launch several successful businesses in UK and abroad. It invested heavily in building its own low-code intelligent automation platform called Katura, and we'll go through Katura features in this presentation to explain to you how Katura works and how it can help you. That allows it to rapidly orchestrate intelligent business processes at enterprise level scalability. Now, the key thing here will be around enterprise level scalability. So what Katura platform does is it provides a basis for you to evolve your solution right from startup stage to scale up without writing any code. There are private clouds for Dynamatix in UK and France, so you can get your solution hosted here in ISO 27001 certified environment. And again, that takes a massive headache away from tech businesses, which are worried about information security, hosting, and other things. Our head offices are in Milton Keynes, as I said before, but not far from Birmingham. So you guys are welcome to pop in anytime when COVID stops. And in the meantime, we can always engage over the internet. The solutions we build are sector agnostic, with solutions deployed in financial services, retail, local authorities, banks, water companies, energy companies, and many others. And below are some of the brands that are using Dynamatix Katura platform and are scaling up really, really well. We'll talk about iHub as a case study afterwards. So the first thing which comes to mind is why build a business? And nowadays, if you're building a business, you need to be thinking about what problems you're solving and do they really matter? So let me tell you why tech businesses, or generally businesses, normally fail. Tech businesses fail because they're started by tech people. So this may be shocking, but people who are having technology background generally end up building products and solutions that are not required or not really urgently desired by the market. And that's why they generally fail. So I'm also guilty of that. So I've also built a number of products because I felt the need for those. And I felt that if I'm feeling a need for those, maybe the market is also feeling a need for those. And because I can build them, I went and built them. And that was the wrong thing to do. So if you're a technology person, the first thing I will recommend is forget what you know. And that's the really important bit of it here. Start from scratch. Start thinking about your problems from scratch. Build for product market fit from the very beginning. And that's really, 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 really important. That I can't stress that more than what I'm doing now. So let's see how you can set up a successful tech business in 3 to 6 months by following the right steps in the right order. And this is really important. So the first step, which is between 2 to 4 weeks, is a niche definition. So niche definition focuses on what problems customers are having and how many of these customers are there. So you may have identified a problem yourself, and you may want to go and test this problem with other potential customers before you even write or open up your laptop. You need to go and test this problem statement and see how many people are there having a similar problem. You need to look at what existing solutions or workarounds are available to them. And if so, do these actually really work? And if these are not working, what are the frustrations that they cause? How do customers feel emotionally about these workarounds? What is the desired state? So what is it that the customers really desire to get to? They are right now in a bad place and they really want to go to a desired state. Are they really emotionally attached to the desired state? How do they feel about it? And you would need to develop questionnaires to interview prospects and rank problem areas. This is important to do it in a scientific manner. When you're developing your questionnaires, you would want to make sure that you don't have bias in the questions and you ask the questions to the right people. Going and asking your friends and family may be the good thing to do, but also a dangerous one because they will be supportive. You're trying to set up a new business, they are supportive, they will encourage you. They may not actually be the right people to ask the questions. The right people to ask the questions are those who you think would actually pay for it and who will actually benefit from it, from the problem being solved. And then you may want to go to some devil advocates as well to get a real kick on the tires to see whether the solutions or problems you're thinking of will actually work. So once you have the problems defined and the market identified, you need to focus on what are the changes required. Now the changes can be a business process change or a personal habit change. It need not be a technology solution always which can create a change. So let's keep it independent from the solution for now. Let's think about change needed. And then if this change is important for people, then they will be willing to pay for it. So what is the price that they're willing to pay for this desired change? How much money is it that they can afford to pay to get to the desired state? And if they will pay, or some of them will pay, that's great, because then you know that the solution, if you build on top of it, will have a market and some people may end up paying for it. But if you don't charge customers because you think, okay, I don't want to charge my customers, I want to get my revenue from some additional sources like advertising, then you want to test that as well at this point to see if advertisers will be interested in coming in and paying you to build a solution, and then we'll add the adverts on top of it. This may or may not always work for startups because startups are generally low volume, and advertising companies will generally want to go for for products that have got huge volumes, and unfortunately startup companies tend to start slow and don't have huge volume on day 1 or day 10. So it takes a while to build up customer volume and become attractive enough for advertisers. So the question is who will pay for it and what price point they'll pay for a solution, or if they're paying for advertising to and reaching a particular customer base through a solution, then what price point they'll be paying that for that as well. And based on that, you can then define whether you can afford to build the solution and where the break even would be. This whole change identification phase, the second phase, takes around 4 to 8 weeks. So the first 1 month, you can probably think about identifying the problem, validating the problem with your target market, doing the questionnaires, understanding the problem statements. Maybe there are multiple problem statements. You may want to rank them as well. And then you want to go into the changes needed and work on that as well to identify and go deep into that and test the price points. Once you've done that and you're comfortable with the problem statement and the urgency of those problem statement, you may want to go into the low tech startup mode. In this mode, it takes around 4 to 8 weeks to basically cobble together a minimum viable product. And this is where we can help you. Katura can help you spin out a solution within days actually, and deploy it in the real world so that you can start gathering live data, and that's important. So because when people tell you that, hey, you know what, I've got a problem, if you build something for it and I give you 5 quid a month or whatever for it, when you actually have something to show them and ask them for money for it, then that's when the proof of the pudding is. And if they are willing to pay for it, not one or two, but many of them are willing to pay for it, then it means that there is a good business to be built here. In real world, then you will want to monitor the usage of the MVP, which is the minimum viable product. And this is really important terminology because you want to focus on this. You will build a minimum viable product, not something that is really fancy. It's a minimum viable product that can solve the customer's problem to a good degree, may not 100%, but to a good degree. And then you identify the user experience and the areas that are still required for improvement. And customers may give you feedback. And this is fantastic when they start giving you feedback, because those are the feedback that you can then prioritize to say, okay, are they really critical areas for development or not? If they are critical areas for development, then you can prioritize them. And if the customers are willing to pay for it, even better. Then other thing which may happen here is you may find out that your niche definition or the change which was needed was not correctly identified. And you may want to pivot here. So if you think that the customers are taking on your solution for testing, but are not really using it in live, or they're using it in live, but they are not willing to pay for it because they don't think it's valuable enough, even if you promise them few changes, they don't think it's valuable enough, then you would want to think of a pivot. And this is again important to do it early in the life cycle of the business rather than wait for 2-3 years before you run out of cash and start thinking of pivoting. So this is the order in which you should proceed on your startup journey. Again, you have built the MVP, but most of your effort has gone in the niche definition and the changes that are needed, the price point testing. So for a technology person, the journey starts with the low-tech startup phase rather than starting with the previous two phases. And this is where the discipline is required, not to go and jump this process, but to start with the first one first. For the order, and success is guaranteed, or almost guaranteed. The low-tech startup, again, you have not written any code. Katura is a local platform. We'll talk about it. You build the code, you build a solution without writing any code, and then you move into the evolutionary scale-up model. Now, evolutionary scale-up model, as the name suggests, is about looking at what has worked till now and what hasn't. And then what is it that we can do in an evolutionary manner? What features we can add really that are needed by the customers and they're willing to pay for it. Or if they're not a customer now, if we add a feature, we have a guarantee that they will become a customer. So that's the evolutionary scale-up model. You would also really want to think about your scaling up approach as well. So you have seen that the market is there. You've seen your product is fitting the market. You've seen that you have got the right feedback from customers and you have fixed the basic issues in the product, and the product is now really suitable for the market. It can scale up now. Then you will think about how do you scale up? And for that, you will want to go into digital marketing and sales organization buildup. Now, digital marketing can get you a lot of inbound queries if you do it right. The marketing messages need to be really tuned towards customers receiving them. It should hit a raw nerve in a way. If it hits a raw nerve, people will start listening to you. If it doesn't hit a raw nerve, it will be just noise in the cyberspace. So your messaging has to be really good, and you have to think about that. There are a lot of experts out there who can help on messaging and building up a sales organization as well. Now, sales organizations is different from digital marketing because sales organization reach out to customers and help them understand the benefits of your solution. May even do demos of your solution to them, and may be required for some sales processes. But you can focus on building a non-consultative sales process. Now, non-consultative sales processes are those in which you don't actually have to do a lot of selling. You don't consult with people about what they need. You already have proven the product. You already have proven the market. You are talking to the market now saying, hey, listen, if you are a member of the market, you need this product because this product can help you. And look at the people I've already helped. You have those case studies with you. You have some testimonials with you. You can build a non-consultative sales process. Your inbound marketing will bring in people onto your website. Your videos on your website, your messages on your website will convert them into a trial or into a customer. You will be letting them buy products from your website. And once they've bought products from your website, then you will keep on having conversation with them too. And these are again digital conversations which can be automated with them to see how they're using a product and whether it's of benefit to them. So all of this can happen without having to have salespeople or a number of salespeople. You can reduce the number of salespeople a lot by having a non-consultative sales process. So that's a way of scaling up. So let's talk about Katura. So Katura is an intelligent automation platform that can be used to rapidly spin out solutions. It can be used by existing companies, large organizations, to automate their work processes, business processes, but can also be used by startup companies to start building their product or solution. Once they have identified the niche and the change needed, they can come and use this product and build something on top of it. So this is Katura, how it looks like. It's got 6 key components. The skin component is like the skin. You may already have something in place in terms of data structures, in terms of data model, and the skin component basically puts a new skin on top of the skeleton. And this is zero code. It will just go and look at the data model and create a layer, skin layer on top of it, a user interface layer on top of it. It will build APIs automatically. And all of this happens without having any programming done by any programmer. So no programming, no debugging. It's as simple as that. You get it done really quickly in a matter of minutes or hours. So skin is very, very robust way of starting up. You just have to define data model. If you don't have one, if you have data model, then you put a skin on top of it. Flexi is a workflow engine. It's a zero code engine. Here you don't even have to define the data model. Everything is done for you by the Katura platform itself. And the engine will essentially be able to give you a full workflow along with dashboards. And I'll cover Flexi in a little bit more detail in the next few slides. Brain is a machine learning engine which will pick out the data from emails and from other documents and then be able to put that data into workflows. So it's more of a OCR kind of engine, which is much more intelligent than simple OCR and can pull data out from documents and be able to process documents, classify documents, and extract key information from them and put into workflows. Interact is very, very interesting one. It can essentially bring your solution into the digital age by enabling interactions with the real world, people, human beings, whether they're customers, whether they're suppliers or employees, through different channels like SMS, IVR, email, Messenger, WhatsApp, and all of this is automated. So if you have a product and you want it to receive WhatsApp messages or send WhatsApp messages, or receive Messenger, SMS, and work on those basis, all those messages is receiving, do some actions on the back of that, then Interact along with Flexi or Skin is an answer for you. And then ARM is a robotic module, which will help automate processes through robotic process automation. We will cover Skin and Interact in some detail, but you would also want to learn a little bit more about Glue, which is a really important feature of Katura platform. Now, Glue is something that helps you integrate with third-party products which are required for your solution. So like payment gateways, you would need a payment gateway if you take payments, and Glue can help you get information from the payment gate or transfer information to the payment gateways for payments. We already have got integration with Go Cardless, Stripe, and PayPal. We can call in payments, one-off payments, or we can call regular payments through these, and we can always build new payment gateway integrations anytime. And Glue is the mean or mode through which we do that. There's already integrated data flows, and you have got built-in flows with TransUnion, Equifax to put in credit bureau history for individuals, open banking so as to get people who are using your system, if they want to pull in data from the bank account, they can do that. And then there are others as well, like TrueLayer, which is again an open banking platform. And then there are companies house, obviously, where you can pull company information from through the APIs. And the beauty of it is that Katura has already got integration with all of these different flows, and we also keep building more and more of these as need be. Finally, there's e-signature solutions, which are plugged in the platform. So DocuSign, I think many of you would have heard of it already. And then there are Adobe EcoSign, free signing software like OpenESign forms, and there's EU level signing software, which is for using code processes, etc., which is much more, I would say, secure process because it requires a chip and pin to sign documents. All these processes are then again integrated within Katura already, and the glue can then be used to integrate into other systems, which are, and we'll talk about glue a little bit more in the next few slides, but it can hook into any other systems through JDBC or through APIs as well. So let's go to the next one, which is a Flexi. Now Flexi, which I mentioned to you before, is a zero code system development environment for business processes. You can even use it for customer processes, but it's ideal for business processes. The way it works, you can write or define a submission form without having to actually write any code. You can specify which fields you want, what type of fields they are, whether it's a drop down, whether it's a date field or the number field. You can specify different constraints on the field as well. Or the number should be between 1 and 100, or date can be this date or that date. And these forms, again, in this world of automation, people may not want to fill in forms. So you may be able to pull data from different other systems or environment to then populate this information beforehand, and then be able to push them through approval flows. So you have the chance, or you have the ability to link this form to other existing core systems the customer may have, or expose it through APIs to other systems, and pull in information from there, or have them entered by have a user enter the information. Essentially, once you have got the information, you may set up approval flows. So those flows, you can say level 1 approver who will approve this information. If you have multiple levels of approvers, you can define that as well. And then you can have additional data capture for each approver. So you can create a different form for each approver, again, with zero programming, all of this. You can put in approval criteria. When does it go to a certain approver? Doesn't go to other approver. You can put in those approval criteria as well. So it becomes very decision and logic based kind of approval process. And you can provide deadlines and email notifications to approvers. You can even put in expiry rules for the data you're capturing, especially if you are looking at expiring personal information after 6 years or something. You may ask compliant with GDPR or other data protection laws you have to comply with. Then you can set up expiry rules as well, which will delete the information automatically after, say, 6 years or whenever you set it up for deletion. Or if you don't want it to be deleted, just to you to be notified, it will do that as well. And then you can define your dashboards here. You can say what type of charts you need, whether you need line chart, pie chart, what trend charts, stuff like that. You can even define that here without writing code. This environment, the Katura Flexi zero code environment, can be used to create multiple number of processes. And some examples here are complaint management processing. So customers may put in complaints, and then it has to go through processing. Katura Flexi can then be used to automate the workflow for that. Internal and external surveys, you can define surveys here and push them out to external world or to internal employees, and can gather data from the people and show them the information. And then put it into approval, look at the dashboards, how people are responding, and track the whole process end to end here. You can use it for task management and approval processing. So you have action plans, tasks, etc. You can use it for that. You can use it for regulatory notification management and actions. media report tracking, and customer request processing. And these are very few examples of how our customers are using it as of now. There are many, many different ways you can use Flexi alone or then integrate it with other Katura modules. Katura Glue, as I mentioned to you before, is very important if you are building a solution for the business world. In the business world, generally, customers will already have existing systems. They will have a CRM system, they may have a ERP system, a financial system, and these systems will have information in them. You wouldn't want customers to be entering information into your solution manually without that's just a waste of time, and it duplicates effort and creates friction. So you would want that those systems where the information is held to be glued into your product, and that is what Katura can help you do. So Katura has got read-only JDBC connections, which can be used to reach out to these environments. If they allow JDBC connections, we can pull data from there. Or if they have APIs, Katura can hook into those APIs and pull data from there. Worst case scenario, Katura can schedule batch jobs coming in from these source systems into your product, and that information then flows through batch jobs, which can be overnight jobs or maybe hourly, depending on how you want it configured and how much practical it is. Worst case scenario, again, you've got RPA, which is robotic process automation. If you don't have data integrations happening through backend, then you may want to use a robot to pull data, as if the robot is a human being pulling data from those systems into your product. That way you can minimize the data pull required or data entry required into your product, and thereby reducing the friction for which the customers will pay your premium, because then they don't have to worry about getting data from 10 different systems. They can just worry about just focus on using your solution as a new layer on top of your of their existing systems. So they may also have data in spreadsheets, which can be programmed to be uploaded into Katura. There may be some programming required here to read the data to understand what data is in there, but Katura has got good interfaces for Excel as well. And then you've got they may have got data on network drives. They may have data in terms of files or emails that they want to pull and read as well. And then you may want to put in the integration for those as well into Katura. Again, if that's required, it's a very low code kind of thing. It's not like you build a whole new module. It's already there in Katura. Just need to program a little bit there, and that's where we can help you as well. The output of it can be your new product. So your new product is now working seamlessly within a customer's environment and with zero programming, or maybe with some programming here if for integration purposes, depending on how much I would say unique systems or processes they've got. How to plug those in, you may need a little bit of programming, but hopefully not much, and ideally none at all. And then Katura can also give you dashboards and reporting coming out of all the data coming into your process, and then give you SMS alerts, notifications from email, case management automation, which is part of your product. And then also, more importantly, it can expose all the information that's coming into it through REST APIs. So that if you want to then put some other product on top of your solution that you're configured on Katura, then you can pull the data from Katura and expose it in REST APIs and push it into other solutions as well, or back into the customers' core systems. So anything that is built on Katura automatically gets a REST API, and that's the beauty of it. Let's talk about Katura Interact now, before we move into the case study. So Katura Interact is optimizing the contact, as I said, with customers, employees, and suppliers, using different channels, using multiple channels. And the communication can be pre-programmed information. It can be semi-transactional information like balance checks. You know, someone may want to check the balance and they send a message and then they get a reply back as long as the phone number is known to the system. Or it may ask for additional verification, for example, a PIN code, whatever, and then give the balance out. They can also make payments without having to talk to a human, or if they need to talk to a human or they need to interact with a human, through SMS, WhatsApp, or email, then the right skills of the humans are then configured in Katura, and the right human will be then getting the right messages from the customer. So customer has a problem regarding technical support, it goes to technical support team only. Customer has a problem on sales or want to buy something, it goes to sales team. So that's how skills can be configured. And with the one number exposed to customer, you can have communication coming in from multiple teams. Same way for going out communication, outbound communication, you can then have your product be able to send messages out to customers through all these channels as well. And even phone calls. You can make robotic phone calls and send messages out to customers. Again, we have to be careful as to how we use this along with GDPR regulations. So we can work with you on that. But that's the possibility of the system. The art of the possible is you can do outbound messages through all these channels. So now let's move into a case study. And this case study is about IE Hub. IE stands for Income and Expenditure Hub. And the way the system has been designed, or let me talk to you about the objective first. So the IE's objective is to empower customers in financial difficulties and reduce the stress and mental anxiety caused by managing debt and dealing with multiple creditors. So when people are in distressed, financial distress situation, they generally have around 6 or so creditors they have to deal with, and each creditor requires them to fill in a detailed income and expenditure form, which takes around 45 minutes. So when someone is in financial distress, they generally are in distress state because of multiple reasons, but generally is driven by external environment, like loss of job, sickness, illness, or even family breakdown. So there are a number of reasons why people may be in financial distress situation. And when they are under that kind of anxiety, when they are having that level of anxiety already on there, they also have got additional anxiety to deal with the debt problems, and they have to deal with the creditors. The creditors can be anyone. They can be the water company, the council, can be banks, lenders, mail order companies, can be any number of creditors. But generally, we have seen that there are average of 6 creditors per customer. They take around 45 minutes per conversation to record the information. The customer gives them the information, the individual gives them the information over the phone, over the web, sometimes over paper forms, a number of different ways, which are suboptimal. And they have to repeat this exercise several times a year with all the creators, because as circumstances change, creators want to know how things have changed, and they would want to then look at if they have to provide a different solution to the customer if things have changed, and they have to keep discussing the customer's circumstance change throughout the year. So this provides a lot of heavy burden on the customer in terms of mental anxiety, in terms of stress, and also on the creators, because they now have to deal with this customer through a lot of manual processes, as well as the number of customers which are coming with different problems. They have to work out those problems. So creators also getting information from customers. This information is sometimes not correct. When I say sometimes, it's probably most of the time is not correct, because they don't know what the information the customer is giving is accurate. Customers don't know when they're giving information over the phone whether that information is correct. So if someone asks you how much you spend on, let's say, school uniform each month, you wouldn't probably have much idea about that unless you look at your bank statements maybe, or look at your spending. Think about spending properly. While someone is on the phone asking for the information, that information may be given top of your head and may not be correct, and may actually start harming customers, resulting in bad customer outcomes. So creditors also are having problem in that area. So we know the problem is there for both customers and the creditors. And we know the solutions in the market are not solving the problem, because they are either lender focused, so they are digital solutions, and they may be open banking enabled. So open banking is the new big thing in the market now. They may be open banking enabled, but they are not actually a lot helpful. Open banking does capture information about the customer from the bank transactions, but it doesn't capture information which is not there. And that's the problem with open banking. Open banking doesn't show things which the customer is not paying. So if the customer is not paying certain bills, it doesn't show that. And that's one thing which is missing. And then also what's missing is the debt information as to how much debt the customer has across different creditors. So that's missing as well. So open banking is part of the answer, not the full answer. And then each lender has their own solution, which are based on their own internal workflows rather than looking at the customer as focused on customer. So they may try to help the customer in their own way, but again, not very practical. And then there are debt management companies which are there to help the customer, but these debt management companies can only help around 20% of the customers based on experience. So 80% of customers are not able to get help from charities or debt management companies, which because they don't have any affordability, and the debt management companies can't do their plans unless they have affordability. So as the COVID-19 situation is evolving, we expect around 12 million customers in UK next year to need help from the creators, which will be quite high. Think about it, 12 million is like 1/3 of UK's working population, and that many customers would be needing help next year from creators. This will swamp the creator operations. Creators will not have time on dealing with these problems. Plus, the creators themselves may have problems in terms of the operations because many of the people may not be available full time because of COVID reasons. They may be working from home locations, may not have access to all the information or data that they need to support a customer. So there are a number of other strains on the creators here. So if you think about it, the objective of the IAP system is to help customers in financial difficulties. And we looked at the problem statement there about the customer and the creditors having problems, and the existing solutions not really fitting the problem and not solving it, and especially not solving it for the next year when the number of people in financial issues will be quite high. So let's look at what we have gone through this already. So let's look at IAP Solution. So IAP is building a network of all companies in the UK. Every company in the UK that deals with customers, and especially those who deals with customers in financial difficulty, and bring them onto a single platform. This will enable the customer to discuss their situations with all the creditors in one place. So the customer is in the middle here. Rather than having a lender-focused solution, this is a customer-focused solution. And the customer can interact with the banks, water company, energy company, council, housing association, telecom companies, debt purchase companies, debt collection companies, non-bank lenders. All of these companies are or will be on IEHub platform, and they'll be receiving communication from the customer through one channel for the customer. So that's the beauty of it. That's the strategy of IEHub, to create this network of companies on one platform. And then how are we doing it? So the tactics we use is, one is the customer portal. The customer portal allows the customer to enter their detailed IND information in one place and share it with all the creditors. They can also update the information regularly as things change, as circumstances change, and then share again with all parties. So that way the customers are engaged with the platform. And the platform has got smart questions, and access to the bank account data is available through open banking. So customers can pull data through the bank account, from the bank account, rather than having to enter everything manually. And otherwise, even the questions we have got are smart questions which build a profile of the person first, and then based on that ask the right questions, rather than asking number of questions which may not be relevant. So that's the beauty of it. And then the customers can use the system over any device, whether it's a mobile phone, tablet, or desktop. They can use it through any device. And then there's a frictionless login into IHub. and then that's using customers can log in through a Gmail account, Microsoft, Yahoo account, or they can create their own account, and then they can share IND with any party on our network, or even those without which who are not on our network. They can download the PDF statement and then send to those creators. There are email workflows which engage the customer to finish their IND. So if customers have started the process but have not really completed it, then there'll be emails which will be triggered to the customer, and customers can then log in and start from where they stopped last time, and finish off their IND, and then share with all their creators. And again, the system will remind them every few months to keep the information up to date. So that's also important, because then the creators will know, okay, nothing has changed, or things have changed, and they can then take the right actions on the back of that for the customer. So this is the customer portal, and it has solved the problem for the customer, because it's empowering them to stay on top of their finances and not feel overwhelmed because of the debt issues that they are having. So that's the critical piece of it. Is the portal to solve the customer's problem. On the creator side, we have got the creator portal, or the CRM, and again, all of this, the customer portal, the creator portal, are built on top of Katura platform. So with probably zero coding or very little coding to support the workflows, and inbuilt security features, like IP whitelisting and all the other things are part of the platform. So a huge number of features already inbuilt there without having to write a single line of code. Integration with Credit Bureau is there for creators. So they want to check the data coming in from customers. They want to check it against Credit Bureau. They can do that. And they can then, if the things are very different from what they are seeing, from which the customer has sent to them, they can call the customer and ask questions. And if they find that the Credit Bureau information is incorrect, then they can override that and put in the customer information. And if customer information is matching that in the bureau, or is matching ONS data, ONS is the statistical data for the country. The customer says, I'm spending this much money on travel, and statistically it's about right. It doesn't seem wrong, then the information flows through. Otherwise, it can go into a work queue for an agent to have a call with the customer, and the customer can then clarify or provide information as to why they're having different spends. Sometimes we find that the customers says they're spending very little money on some things, but it ends up because someone else is paying for it rather than them paying for it. But that kind of clarity isn't required, so that the right customer outcome can be reached by the company which is supporting the customer. Now, the beauty of this is, once one agent has spoken to the customer, the information is available to the customer. Whatever information has been recorded or changed is available to customer, and they can share it with all the other creators again through the customer portal. So irrespective of who records the information, the customer owns the information, and that's the empowerment piece of this, that the customer is always in charge of their own data and can share it with any number of parties. So that's the benefit of that, obviously, is that the creators now start getting high quality information, and then they can get the information through REST APIs. They can get the information through batch jobs as well into the systems, along with the customer portal and the creator portal. And then this information is also not going to swamp their operations. So that's the other thing. So they don't have to work on every single piece of information coming in. They can work on only those pieces of information that requires an agent's attention, so it doesn't swamp their operation. So it solves problems for both the customer and the creator in a way that was not being done before by other solutions. So that's why it's picking up steam and is getting traction in the marketplace. So hopefully that's been a useful session for you, and you have seen how IAP basically was able to use the Katura platform, and then the founders of IAP basically worked with Dynamatix team to crack this problem, and we are able to achieve the mission, which with probably very little or zero programming. So let me just check if there are any program questions there now for me, and if there are questions, I'll take them now. Okay, I don't see any questions here. Alrighty. So since there are no questions, we'll end the session here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. It was a pleasure having you, and hope you enjoy the rest of the tech week. Goodbye.